Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. Today we are going to check out a band that has been widely requested, so much so that I'm intrigued what's up with them. Not to mention that they just have like this wild name for their band. So that's definitely got me interested as well. So today we're going to be checking out Sleepytime Gorilla Museum. It was requested by Rob Ply91, Palindromeda 33, fantastic name. Chris Berry, Richard Irving, Ermithon, and David Blanchard. There were quite a few songs requested, but the most popular and the one that has me most interested is the donkey-headed adversary of humanity opens the book. So, this is quite the mouthful. As a whole, we got Sleepytime Gorilla sings donkey-headed adversary of humanity opens the discussion. Oh, I said opens the book. It's actually opens the discussion. Unless I got the wrong song and they have two that are very similar. So anyways, we're going to do opens the discussion. That's the YouTube video I got pulled up. And yeah, it's just like such a long band name, such a strange band name, such a long song. I can't not be intrigued by this. So, let's get to it. Let's see what Sleepytime Gorilla Museum's got. Alright, we got a 6-minute song ahead of us. And it's starting out lots of energy. Not really going anywhere, just building it. Alright. Ooh, is that a violin? Maybe a viola. Alright, this is definitely unique. Very interesting. I'm trying to find some semblance of the time that we're in, and it's just, I don't know. I've just lost all track of time. There's so much going on. Oh man, is that a plucked violin? This is like, what if System of a Down went proggy avant-garde? Almost has like an Eastern influence right here. not just because of the instruments they have, but also their use of repetition to create a foundation. The cool thing is, as strange as it sounds, it's still operating very much inside the confines of typical compositional standards.
Into the ground. Eaters of the air, drive us from the sky. Eaters of the green, take us into the sea. Eaters of the scraps, take us in our beds.
Ooh, bells. There's just so much going on. Lots of energy build up though. Interesting. I don't think the band has the right mix or instrumentation for heavy drop that I was kind of thinking was going to happen. But I mean, all right, that was a trip. Holy cow. So yeah, that was wild. Okay, so the first thing I really want to talk about is that the song is odd. It definitely plays with time signature and pacing and phrasing and stuff like that to create a lost sense of time. I had a real difficult time really trying to nail down where the downbeat was, where the beginning of the phrasing was. In a sense, where's one? I can't, it's not, it's just, time was lost. There was no time in this song. And the different instruments all on the surface really seem to have a bunch of parts that didn't go together. Everybody, if someone had told you every instrument on here was playing their own song and then they just recorded all these separate parts and threw them together into a single mix, some people might believe that. There's a lot of stuff in here that doesn't really seem to fit on the first time listen. And that's not even just rhythmically, but even when you start taking into the melodic aspects and you look at some of the keys that they're playing in and the notes that they're playing, it definitely feels like these are a bunch of desperate parts that have been pulled together against their will to create a song that shouldn't be. But when you really start to delve into it and you start listening to how the parts interact with each other, how the phrases interact with each other, how the sections interact with each other, you start to really see the genius of this song. Even just starting on the smallest level, which would be the instruments, and their musical phrasing, looking at each instrument individually. When you take their parts together, you notice that it's kind of like a relay race, where there aren't that many instruments playing each beat, but every beat has an instrument playing in it. So there's not a lot of overlap, and you see that in the syncopation of the rhythms. You might hear two notes from the drum, and then you'll hear a note from the bass, and then you'll hear a note from a bell, and then you'll hear a note from the guitar, and then the bass pops in, then the guitar, and then the drums, and it's like they're passing along. Who's going to play on this beat? You know, who's going to play on this and of a beat? And it's this little they're passing the baton. It's this little relay race where everybody's playing at a different time, but it's creating a song around it. And it's very interesting. It's almost the exact opposite of what I was talking about in the last video with uh, the number 12 Looks Like You, where they kind of had this cohesion where every bandmate was always on the same page. They're always playing the same thing. They were always accenting and um, kind of driving home these same beats. When they were doing stingers, the whole band was on the sting. But this band is kind of the opposite, where each body has their own song, and individually it would sound like chaos, but when you bring them all together, it creates this beautiful work of art where everybody's kind of filling in each other's gaps and nobody's stepping on anybody's toes. And the term for this is eluding me at the moment, but it is when you basically take a single musical phrase and instead of giving it all to one instrument, you split up pieces of it and give it to multiple instruments, and they fill in each other's missing parts. And like I said, there's a phrase for this. It's a specific compositional technique, and it's slipping my mind. Um, but yeah, it this band does that perfectly. And they showcase it throughout the entire track. There isn't really a single section in the song that has the whole band kind of coming together for a specific phrase, a specific musical idea. It's always kind of split up between multiple instruments, and it's like counterpoint to the nth degree, where or maybe it's like the opposite of counterpoint. I don't know. It depends on how you like approach the thought of it. Counterpoint would be two melodies that come together to create a single unique melody. And this would be a single melody broken up where you still have multiple instruments coming together to create a single musical phrase, but none of the instruments on their own would really work. Whereas in counterpoint, every instrument has a single musical phrasing, a single melody, and on their own it would be beautiful, but when you bring them together, it's more beautiful. And this is kind of like they wouldn't work on their own. I don't know. It could be like another side of the coin to counterpoint if you want to look at it that way. But yeah, just really interesting way to go about writing a piece, because it's like I said, it's the whole song. It's not like they chose to do that just for the breakdown or anything like that. Like the whole song is written that way, where every instrument is necessary to fill in the gaps of the rests of where other people are playing. So yeah, really cool stuff. And like I said, when you start to realize that every piece or every instrument is a piece of the puzzle, and if you take any of them out, you end up with gaps in the puzzle. You can't see the big picture. I think you really start to appreciate what they're doing with this song. On the other side, though, there is a lot for a song that this would be serious music. This is music for art's sake kind of stuff. Avant-garde ideas, and I think when you approach it from that angle, you're going to expect really serious stuff. These are serious composers who are seriously writing difficult music for serious musicians to play seriously. But I don't get any of that energy in this track. This is a fun song, and that's kind of weird to say, having that I didn't really have time to think or to speak what I was thinking, because there's always something else going on. This is a song that you could listen to 100 times and still hear something new. It's so complex, so layered, and that's usually where the seriousness would come in when you have these art house songs. But I don't get a serious, like, an air of seriousness with this. This song feels fun. They played around with a lot of really cool ideas that I it's oh, some of it is just like somebody came up and said, "Hey, can we do this just for the heck of it?" And they're like, "Yeah, let's do it. That sounds amazing." And so let's put it in the song. And that's, I had a smile on my face the whole time because this wasn't really, to me, like a song that I had to seriously get into and figure out what was going on, and try to transcribe it so I could fully understand all the cool things that are going on. It's it came off as more of a fun song, a song that I can just listen to and like, hey, what's around the corner? Oh, that funny guy with the funny joke. What's around this corner? Um, it was just, I don't know if it's maybe just having a musical background, but this song felt like it was full of punchlines. And that's kind of a weird thing to say. I don't know how many people are going to understand that. I'm sure I'll get a couple of comments that are like, hey, you just put in the words what I've been feeling about this song forever. But maybe that's going to go over a lot of people's heads who aren't familiar with musical ideas and stuff like that. But yeah, this is a funny song. And I mean, I would feel so bad if this was like this, their magnum opus. This is the most serious thing they've ever done, and they want to be taken seriously for it, taken seriously about it. But I don't know. This is a fun song with a bunch of funny stuff in it, um, and is like all these little musical jokes, and I can't imagine it was done haphazardly. There's too many things in here that just made me chuckle. Uh, Musically. Now, the lyrics, the delivery of the lyrics themselves, a lot of it, I'm sure there's a seriousness to that. The few lyrics I picked up and the way that they're delivered definitely has. There's probably a serious message in here, but for the parts where the lyrics weren't being sung, I think there's really only one part. There's like the verse. I don't really remember lyrics showing up anywhere else. And they kind of hit the verse two parts. It kind of bookends it at the beginning and the end. And yeah, aside from those two parts, though, everything in the middle is just a blast to listen to. There's a lot of really fun parts in there. There's fun instruments that show up. The instruments are used in, I don't want to say comical ways, because I feel like all this stuff is fun, funny, comical. It kind of feels like I'm punching down on the band, but I really don't know any other way to describe it. It's a song that makes me want to laugh, and I've mentioned that it's kind of like, it reminded me of something like if System of a Down went avant-garde, and I feel System of a Down's the same way. They have serious songs about serious topics, but they're delivered in a fun way. I've been listening to some System of a Down stuff on my own after having reacted to like three or four of their songs, and comedy I think is a strong factor in System of a Down's music. I think they have to have, not necessarily comedy, but they have to have fun. And I'm kind of getting that here too. They have a serious message to say, but that doesn't mean that the music itself can't be fun. So I don't know. That's kind of where what I got from them. I love it. This is just great. It's a stroke of genius. I don't know. It's got everything in there for me. It's a little difficult to listen to. I can't say I would just pop this on to go around the corner to the store or something. I would definitely have to be in the mood for it, but it works on so many levels, and I really appreciate the artistic ideas that went into it on a compositional level. So yeah, Sleepytime Gorilla Music, Donkey-Headed Adversary of Humanity opens the discussion. Let me know what you guys thought about this one. This was semi heavily requested. I mean, I think that was 6 or 7 requests that I could fit on the screen. I think that was all of them, but that's usually they're like 80% of my stuff has one or two, maybe three tops requests. Anything more than that is, to me, is a popular request. I have a couple that are double digits, but for the most part, stuff, most of my stuff single digits, and like 5, 6 plus is kind of pretty popular. So yeah, I'm glad you guys pointing me towards that, because that's some really good stuff. I dig that. We're gonna have to check out more of that. That's where you come in, though. Let me know and more songs I should be checking out. I know there were a few more requests for this band. Definitely add them to the list of songs when I get around to returning to this band. But if you've never heard of them before, let me know what you guys thought. And it's some crazy chaos, but did you enjoy it? So did you do you enjoy it more now that I've kind of broken it down and given my opinions on what I think's going on in this song? Yeah, and while you're down there in the comments, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And I'll be back next week. Probably that probably means tomorrow. I think this is yeah, yeah, this will be tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow I'll be back with next week's theme, which is going to be instrumental week. I picked 10 instrumental tracks. Most of them I think were from bands that only do instrumental tracks, but one of them is from a band that typically has a vocalist, and the one song just doesn't. And yeah, the polls for that will close. Well, closed yesterday. So yeah, I'm really excited about that though. Instrumental work is amazing. I do enjoy vocals in music, but I think it's also a treat to listen to melodies carried by instruments where the story is told through the emotions of the music rather than blatantly through words that have built-in meanings by nature of being part of language. So we don't really listen to that many instrumental tracks. I really wish we would do more. So yeah, those 5 songs are picked, though. I'm excited for what we're going to do next week. And if you want to help shape the future of this channel, make sure you check out my Patreon, patreon.com/criticalreactions, and you can vote on future themes and future songs. All right, until next time, you all stay safe and have a fantastic day.